So, in the last interview, you said your hobby is Korean archery.
Yeah, Korean
right?
traditional archery, yes.
So, what inspired you to specialize in Korean archery and related areas? And how did you develop an interest in this field?
Well, I first shot a bow when I was a very little boy.
Oh, really?
Yes, I learned how to shoot a bow at summer camp when I was about 7 years old, maybe.
Well, your country?
Yeah, in the United States, yes. And then on my 8th birthday, my parents gave me a bow and arrow set.
Oh!
Yeah, so, and I just loved shooting
really?
bows and arrows, yeah. And off and on in my youth, I would, once in a while shoot a bow and such. And then after my wife's son and I moved back to Korea, after 1989, I was, when he started to get to be around 5 years old, I wanted that he and I could have a hobby we could do together.
Oh, really? It's good.
And so I was thinking, archery might be a good idea. And I was thinking more like the Western style, Yangung style, because I didn't know anything about Korean style, the gukgung. I didn't know at that time. And so I thought, Korea is very famous for its Olympic archery and such. Matter of fact, just in 1988, there was the '88 the Pal Olympics and everything, and Korea did so wonderful. Kim Sun-young and all of them, right? And so I was very impressed with that. So I thought, it should be very easy to find a place to shoot. Yeah. I found there was no place publicly somebody could shoot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the Yangung archery, that is very, very closed circle, because they start as children in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
That's when their talent is found. And then they concentrate in middle school, high school, and such.
Yeah.
And they do all their practicing at closed clubs and everything like that. There was nothing public.
Yeah.
But anyway, I bought for me and my son. I bought us some Western style bows, and so he and we would go out in the countryside and try to find a place and I was teaching him, what I knew about. So I was trying to teach him how to shoot and everything, and he was enjoying it.
Are you good at shooting?
Well, I'm reasonable.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, we were finding it very, very difficult to find some place that we could really, truly practice. And so I was teaching Dongguk University at that time in Gyeongju, and I asked my faculty assistant, I said, I was complaining actually, I said, there's no place for me and my son to shoot archery. And he said to me, he says, have you ever considered Korean traditional archery?
Oh.
And I says, no, what's that? I didn't know. He said, there's a club about a 5-minute drive from our university. He said, let's go over. So we got in my car and we drove over to the club. It's called, in Gyeongju, it's called the Horimjeong.
Horimjeong.
Yeah, the name of the club in Gyeongju.
That's nice.
And so he and we went there, and we're watching the members shoot and everything. And then at that time, my Korean was just terrible.
Okay.
So my assistant, he was my interpreter and such. And so I was asking many questions of the members and such. By the time we finished there, I was signed up as a member.
Really?
Yeah. But I wouldn't start actually until the following, until the beginning of the following year. And then I became a member of the Gyeongju Horimjeong, and within 2 months, I was actually pretty good at it. But I had to completely relearn because it's very, very different from Yangung, the Western style.
What's the difference?
Well, for one thing, the way that your stance and how you draw the bow. Western style, it's with fingers and such. With gukgung, with the Korean style, it's a thumb ring that you have a thumb, you have a ring. It's called a gakji.
Gakji.
So you have the gakji here and like this, and you you pull and you relax your hand. And distance is very different. With the Western style, you know, a typical distance might be 70 meters. But Korean traditional style, 145 meters. 145m.
Okay, 145m.
Yeah. And in Korean style, you just have to hit the target anywhere on the target face. But of course, Yangung style, you're going for the bullseye. But Korean style, you only have to hit the target.
Yeah.
But it looks very, very small at
of course.
145 meters.
Yeah, it's too far.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very different style, a very different way of shooting. And so the fellow who taught me how to shoot Korean style, he said to me, he says, "I know you know how to shoot a bow. Now forget everything you know." He told me to forget everything I know. He says, "Pretend you have never touched a bow before." in your life." And so I started out as a very, very rank beginner, and then worked my way up little by little by little by little.
Which one is more difficult?
What do you mean by difficult? I mean, I guess they both have their own very different ways of doing things.
Yeah,
So I would say that similarities is easier to say. They both use a bow and they both use arrows.
Oh, okay.
But scoring and even the archery culture is very different between the two.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you see, here's the thing: is that there's a very big relationship between my starting Korean traditional archery, which was back in 1993, 30 years ago. Okay, that was when I first started at Horimjang, was almost 31 years ago now. And there is a very big relationship between my shooting archery and my love of history.
Your what?
History, my love of history.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was starting Korean traditional archery, I was interested about when was the last time the Koreans used the bow and arrow in military for warfare. Now, that was when I had heard about the 신미양요.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, maybe, I was just guessing, maybe the 신미양yo. So that's when I started researching the 신mi양yo, was because of archery.
Oh, really?
Now, I found out that the bow and arrow were not used in the 신미양yo. That was that's also could be one of those little interesting things, right? Yeah, they did not use.
Really?
Yeah. They had them. You see, the bow and arrow, they were still an official weapon in Korea, a military weapon, until 1894.
1894?
Yeah, with gabo. And so in 1894, there was the complete restructuring of the Korean government and everything like that, and including archery was no longer a military military art at that time. But during the 신미양요, technically it was still a weapon for them, but they didn't use bows and arrows.
So what weapon did they use during the 신미양요?
Koreans, their main weapon was what we call in English the matchlock musket. In Korean, the jochong or hwaseungchong. And so it's a weapon that Korea had used for 300 years.
300 years.
Because it was introduced to Korea during the Imjinweran.
Yeah, I see.
So the Imjin War of 1592 to 1598. And so that was Korea's main military weapon for almost 300 years.
Oh, wow.
And so the Americans, however, had weapons that were much, much, much more modern than that.
Yeah.
And that's why militarily, weapon-wise, it was an uneven fight because of that. I mean, if you compared soldier to sailor, because the Americans, they were sailors and Marines.
Yeah.
If you compared the fighting forces between Korea and America, they were really quite equal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, fighter to fighter, they were equal. It's just the weaponry made it
of course.
unequal because of that. So anyway, so there's a big connection between my love of history, and then gukgung, the Korean traditional archery, and the 신미양요.
Okay.
Because that's how I learned about the 신미양요.
Oh, really?
And I found that even though they weren't using the bow and arrow in the 신미양요, I found the story to be so fascinating. Oh. And that's when I started, again, around 1995, that was when I started really researching the 신미양요, and it became part of my life, my soul even.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So you mean the reason why you were into 신미양요 is Korean archery?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it
okay.
it really brought me into there. And so there's really a big connection.
Big connection
between all of them.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research on Korean traditional archery. I did a lot of research on the 신미양요.
That's nice.
And so they're both very, very important to me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, in your opinion, how does the practice of Korean archery contribute to preserving Korean cultural heritage and promoting national identity?
Well, actually that one is really an easy question to answer because, the bow and arrow have been used here in Korea for thousands of years. And the bow became really part of Korea's, actually the heart and soul of Korea. It's been used, the bow is used here in Korea. It was used, of course, first for hunting. It was used for warfare. And in the last couple hundred years, it became for recreation, so today there are well over 300 clubs around the country with tens of thousands of members.
Yeah.
And the archery is something that Korea is very well known for. So like, we were talking about the Olympics, for instance.
Yeah, right.
If you talk about archery in the Olympics, automatically Korea comes up. Oh. Because Korea has dominated.
Oh, yeah.
That. Now, there is a big relationship between Yangung, the Western style archery, and gukgung, the Korean style, because Yangung came from gukgung.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first Olympic archers were originally gukgung.
Gukgung? Oh, really?
Yeah, so they actually had to learn a different style of archery. And for a time, Yangung and gukgung, they were one organization at one time. And then they split because they were so different.
Oh, is it too different?
Well,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So anyway, Korea is very often when you talk about Korea, people think about archery.
Yeah, archery.
So it's really a very big point about Korea's Korean traditional archery and also its Western style archery.
Okay, so that was my last question. So thank you for your detailed answer to all my questions. So I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Oh, I enjoyed it also.
So, yeah.
And as you can see, I love to talk.
Oh yeah, I know. I love to talk too. And yeah, thanks to you, I feel like I have become interested in Korean archery. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna join some club.
Well,
yeah.
there is one here in Gyeongsang.
Really?
We used to have one here at the university.
Oh, our university?
We used to have, but it sadly it's no longer operational.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the 천마정.
천마정. Yeah, I know. So, were you a member of this club?
I was one of the founders of it.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're
So-
very welcome.
So, yeah, today I introduce Professor Toma스듀버네이, who majors in Korean study. So, thank you for watching this video and see you next time.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. 얼마나 걸려? 45 minutes. Oh, 맞네.
Yeah, you know what? Here, you might learn something from it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.